My name is Victoria Campbell, and I'm a licensed wildlife rehabilitator in the state of New York. And so I'm able to work with all native species in New York State. Bubba, are you out and about? Do I hear my little sweetheart? I always wanted to help animals, and I just didn't know ever what kind of form that would take. There was a wildlife clinic at Cornell, and I started volunteering there, and I was totally like the volunteer that wouldn't leave. It was like I signed up for every single shift and got all of my licenses for working with native wildlife. Like, you know what? I really want to do the rehab thing, and so then that's when I started Wild Things Sanctuary. I made it a full nonprofit. And we're just a mini nonprofit, but we're still like a functioning nonprofit, and it sort of opened its doors, and that was back in 2008 officially. I had no idea what the need was going to be. When I was thinking about doing rehab, I thought, it'll be like a few little squirrels and some chipmunks and maybe a bird or two. And my second year, I had something like 200 animals and was turning them away. One year I had 17 baby skunks. I mean, I didn't have enough cages for all of them. It was crazy. I was doing all of these animals. I realized that it wasn't sustainable simply because I needed to, pay my mortgage and like buy food and stuff like that. I needed to have a salary. So I knew I was going to have to limit my time a bit. And it was at the same time, white nose syndrome was clearly wiping out the bat population. And I'd had like a few bats and thought they were kind of neat. And then I realized there was no other rehabilitators who really exclusively worked with bats, and very few that even took them at all. So I feel like this was one species that there was this huge gap between what they are, what they do, and then just people's understanding and support of them. Just got a brand new order of 10,000 mealworms. I always wonder what my postman thinks when he gets these boxes that say like live worms on the side. Oh my gosh. All that noise that you've been hearing are some very spoiled baby bats. Unfortunately, this was such a long, cold summer that the babies that were outside in a big flight enclosure didn't learn how to hunt. They were flying really beautifully, but when I used the bat detector, they weren't making echolocation calls when they were flying. They were just flying to the bowls and stuffing their faces. So that's why they're still here. Hey, you guys, after all that noise, where is everybody? Huh? Where's everybody? Oh, I see you. Hi, Frankie. Come over here. Frankie was found as a newborn. He was about not even like an inch long, and he was on a rock, totally naked, screaming his head off. A lot of rehabilitators don't believe in naming their animals. A lot of them come to me already with names, and then for me it's sort of easier to remember them by name than by a number. You want to fly back in, or are you too chubby? It's like, But do you see how chubby he is? Go on, you can do it. Go on, you can fly. You can fly. What, you're just gonna crawl? This is another really interesting thing that I think people don't realize is that I don't think flying really comes naturally to bats. I mean, you should see the babies. It's like they take a while. There's like crash landings that go on. It's amazing that some of them learn how to survive. You can do it. You can go on. Are you being pathetic? Is Lola eating everybody else's food? A little bit. There you go. Bats are such an important part of keeping our environment in balance. I think of them as like little superheroes. People, I feel like they should be wearing capes when they go out and fly at night, because it's just incredible what they do to control our insect populations, and they're so misrepresented in public knowledge.
I know that they eat a lot of bugs. I don't really know much more about bats than that. I don't know what else they do.
Oh, I know. Don't they eat bugs?
I just said that.
Except they certainly capture our imagination.
It opens up into the loft and I get in and all of a sudden I hear this flapping and I'm like, oh my God, bats followed me.
Yeah, we were sleeping and then I just heard my mom screaming and then I went in and then she was like hiding under the bed with like a blanket over her, and then my dad was like running around with the broom.
if the bat was flying, it was probably totally healthy. It was just caught in your house, you know? And then I'd get in patients with like really bad wing breaks, and I, you know, start asking the finder like, well, what happened, you know? And slowly the story would come out like, oh yeah, I guess I hit it with the tennis racket too hard.
He's hiding.
I know that.
Turn out the lights.
Why?
He's nocturnal. He'll think it's daytime like this.
Good point.
They're hideous. Lifeless, beady eyes, clawed feet, huge, grotesque wings.
It's bigger than I thought. It's about a 2-pounder.
2-pounder?
Yeah, big wings.
No.
Big wings.
Oh, no.
They give you rabies, you know.
People expect them to be like, I don't know, like fish or insects. You know, when you see them, they're like really fuzzy. You know, they give birth to live young. The mothers like nurse their babies. They hold them under their wings, and if they have twins, they have a baby under each wing. I mean, some females, they've been shown to congregate for like decades, and they'll always find like their little girlfriend and like hang out with them and like have babies together and stuff. So, you know, you're talking about very long-lived, very intelligent little mammals that, yes, they fly, which is maybe weird, but it's also really special.
I know. You're small and you're so cute. I know.
These poor animals are so cool. They are so helpful to humans, you know, in controlling insect populations, and yet people are so mean to them. Hi guys. Is everybody happy? It's like a little bunch of grapes. It's so cute. All right. So this little guy, he was found with a really badly broken wing, and unfortunately it did have to be amputated, which I hate doing. It's this awful thing where you have to make some of these decisions, and it's like you either need to be put down or we're going to try this. As I said, I used to always euthanize the animals with injuries like that until I saw at other facilities them doing decently. So I'm like, okay, let's give it a go and see how you do. And he was in a like good fighter, good personality. So I'm like, okay, like, you know, you're one of the ones that could become a good education bat. Now this was a really, really interesting case, and hopefully we'll be able to take a look at him. Northern long-eared bats have been almost completely wiped out by white nose syndrome. They're actually possibly going to be listed as federally endangered soon. In some states, they've been almost wiped out 100%. So when I opened the box for this little guy, and I was expecting another big brown bat, and I saw this little one, I couldn't believe it. You know, it's like having a celebrity. You know, one of the reasons I got into wildlife rehabilitation is when I started looking at why and how wildlife get injured, I realized that probably over 90% of animals that get themselves in trouble, wildlife that get themselves in trouble, is because of human-related causes. And when I realized that, it was like, we've got to do something. It's like our ethical responsibility to step up and help these animals. We're the ones that have basically put them in harm's way.
Hi, darling. Yeah, oh my goodness, look. Oh, sweet. Let me get a pair of gloves. All right, just bear with me for just a second. So she was just found in a building, but is totally capable of flight. Okay, you're going to be fine. You're going to be absolutely fine. You just feel a little stuck. I can't believe that you got yourself in this. Oh my God. It's okay. Okay, I know you're pissed off. I'd be pissed off too, but just trust me on this, okay? You know what I'm going to do is actually cut the paper. Okay, it's okay, sweetie. I know. Okay, let's get that away. Disgusting. So, this little girl is stuck on a fly trap. And what I'm doing is I'm using mineral oil because it helps loosen the glue. And thankfully this isn't like one of these horrible fly traps. It's just for little moths, but it's still... I know, bear with me, sweetie. And hopefully, it doesn't look like she's injured herself that badly or anything. So hopefully this will just get her cleaned up, and she'll like re-stick yourself on here. almost there. Almost there. There! How much better is that? Oh my goodness. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put her in a little enclosure so she can just calm down. And then she'll probably have to have like a very delicate little shampoo to get some of that oil off, and we'll get her nice and hydrated.
If you look too much at like the big picture, it can just be overwhelming. But if you just can concentrate on helping every animal that comes in, that sort of is manageable chunks. For me, it's like if the work that I do can help one animal have a better life, then that's amazing. And whether that means an animal has come into my care and I can release it, or whether that means talking to somebody about, bats, where they won't take out the tennis racket and swack the thing that goes in their house, but instead they just open a window and let it fly out. If I can do that for one bat, it's like if any of my work or any of my outreach can do that, then I feel like that will be worth it. It's like as much as I want to save every animal, and as much as there's always going to be part of me that feels guilty for not being able to do so, you just almost have to look at the small victories. People just don't realize like you can actually do it, and it's the most incredible feeling. It's so easy to cause death, especially I feel like if you're a human. It's so easy to cause like injury, even inadvertently. But to keep something alive is so difficult and just so amazing at the same time. It's like, yeah, I might be struggling with my job, or I might have all these other things in my life that are up in the air, but it's like I can keep life going. Like that's pretty cool. But I tell you, if you think too much about like the what ifs, it can drive you crazy. It's like this is where I am now. Don't really know how I ended up here, but I'm just gonna do the best with it. You know what I mean? It's so hard meeting people at this point in my life where everybody's like, oh, and yeah, these are our 2 adorable kids, and this is our great job, and this is great. So what do you do again? I don't even know where to start explaining to people. So I live by myself with a bunny and about 20 bats at the moment. I don't know how I ended up there. There's definitely some untraveled paths out there, and maybe I happen to be on one of them, I think.